Hi, this is Bruce Buffer, your voice of the Octagon, and you're listening to MMA Mental.
Welcome to this week's MMA Mental podcast. My name is Ray. As always, the MMA Mental podcast is sponsored by UK Fightwear. You can follow them on Twitter at UKFW, and also the UFC Live Facebook page, which you can like on Facebook. You can also follow us on Twitter at MMA Mental, and you can also like our MMAmental.com Facebook page, as well as our UFC Games Facebook page as well. Also check out the MMA podcast and the Word on the Street. And also just to let everyone know, I am still in training, and I'll be fighting Stephen Mayer of Almighty Fightwear on Cage Fighter Leeds at Ellen Road. We'll both be raising money for charity. I want to thank Sean Flynn and Matty Evans for both giving me one-on-one sessions to help me prepare for this fight. Matty Evans is a personal trainer. He covers fitness as well as all aspects of MMA, and he can also provide support on nutrition. If you'd like more info, then you can contact Matty on 07899 002 091. Okay, time to get round to this week's guests and segments. We've got 6 in total. We're starting off as always with performance potential with Dave Bond. Dave continues his focus on biosignature testing. He explains how he has helped Kerry Hughes as she prepares for her Cage Warriors debut, which is in a couple of weeks. We've also got the UK MMA with Your MMA, which is hosted by Jay Furness. Jay gives us a whistle-stop tour of the UK MMA scene and also UK fighters fighting internationally. And then we move over to the States and we speak to Ray Lopez. Ray's preparing for his fight at XFC 27 Frozen Fury against Shamir Garcia. He talks about his preparation so far and gives his views on the fight. And then we speak to the charismatic Alex Trevino. Alex is preparing for his fight at XFC 27 also Frozen Fury against Dave Courchaine. He talks about his training and tells us why he's going to win this fight. And then we move back to the UK and we speak with Paul the Titan Taylor. Paul is a week out from fighting for the UCMMA Heavyweight title as he looks to move up the heavyweight ladder and break the top 10 in the UK rankings. And then we wrap up the show with Davey Grant. Davey breaks down the latest Tough 18 episodes. He gives us his views on the drama surrounding the failed weight cut by his opponent Anthony Gutierrez. And obviously big congrats to Davey Grant for making the Tough 18 finale. Hope you enjoy these interviews.
Hello everyone and welcome to this week's segment, Potential Performance segment with myself, Dave Bond. Just going through again, like I said last week, the plan for this week is to look at the progression of one of the fighters we work with, Kerry Hughes, in her lead up to Cage Warriors debut, 7th of December. And when we've talked about, and we've done segments in the past, we've talked about different things in biosignature, nutrition, training, phases of training, and got through all of that in as an overview. It's really nice now with the fighter coming up to a match to be able to sort of actually talk you through how we implement it, what we do, some of the problems we may come across with regards to training, and so people can actually understand what it is we do and how we do it and the benefits that it has. So when I spoke to you last week, Kerry had been biosigned. We put her onto a strict nutrition plan, a low carb, high protein nutrition plan. Carb sources were coming from a lot of vegetables, things like that, but really reduced her rice bread, pasta, potato. We'd also got her doing 2 strength sessions a week, and she'd also been putting in what we call LSD training, which was the long, slow duration training. So when I did speak to you guys last week as well, the biosignature test that we do, which is the hormonal profiling, wasn't due to be done till the following day. So I hadn't got those results to hand of where she was at that current time, which I now do have, and she's being tested again tomorrow. So the segment today, I'm going to look at what the results were last week, what we found, and what we've done this week to try and address it. So like I do every week, I'll go through each part of it, starting with the biosignature tests, which was what happened the day after I spoke to you last. So biosignature test we did with Kerry. So just for those of you perhaps who are listening for the first time, biosignature test is what we do down at the Potential Performance when we hormonally profile athletes. So we look at the hormones within their body, any imbalances that are there, and look at what we're trying to achieve for the individual and how we can do that by bringing hormones into alignment if they're out of balance, using training, using nutrition, using herbal supplementation as well. And it's a really great place to be because we can actually we can use the results of the biosignature test to really pinpoint what we're doing with that athlete to make it really, really specific for them rather than being generic and trial and error. We can make it really, really specific. So with that in mind, Kerry went in on Friday morning last week to be biopsied again. Results came back in, and from that we've had to adapt and address all aspects of her training and nutrition, just because great with the fact that her body fat had dropped, I think around 3%, if I remember rightly, 3% body fat reduction in 1 week, but she's still carrying a lot of lean muscle. So what we're finding at the moment is she's very, very lean. She's incredibly strong, training incredibly hard, but just carrying a little bit too much muscle. So what we've actually done off the back of the results of that is we've changed her training program, but we've also changed her nutrition as well to back up those results. The good thing is, going back to the biosignature before I go into those, going back to the biosignature stuff, the great thing was that the hormone imbalances that perhaps we'd addressed at the beginning were coming into alignment. So the body's functioning, as we want it to function. She's training hard. She's at peak fitness. She's at peak strength. She's been maxing out on everything, and she's still putting in the time down at BKK with the guys down there. She's still communicating, and we're communicating with E-Protein with regards to the supplementation she needs to be on. So she's at peak prime of where she needs to be. Like I said, the one slight problem we've got is she's almost too good, in the sense that she's carrying at the moment, from last Friday, she was carrying probably about 3/4 of a stone to a stone of too much muscle. So what we've done to deal with that, so like I said, first time we tested her, we were dealing with hormone imbalances, we were dealing with all sorts, and we were having to address that specifically. Now the hormone imbalances are much more in line, and we're now dealing with the fact that she's just carrying too much muscle. So all we're doing is we've just had to adapt her training and nutrition. So Kate Mitchell, who's our biosignature consultant, also one of our specialist trainers as well, and a colleague of mine, Kate's put on a very strict eating program where she's actually gram for gram. Kerry has to weigh out her food options now, just because we know exactly what we want to feed the muscles, so that she doesn't lose the relevant muscle that she needs, but also that muscle that she's carrying that she doesn't need will start to burn away. We have dropped her 2 strength sessions. She was doing 2 strength sessions a week, lower body and upper body strength based work. We've dropped those just because it was with Kerry reacts fantastically to any kind of strength training. So for her, when she was doing those sorts of sessions, it was probably she was reacting to it slightly differently than perhaps someone else would. So she was getting muscle gains from that, whereas what we're hoping was just to look at the strength gains, not necessarily the muscular hypertrophy stuff that you would normally associate with a bodybuilder. So we've dropped the strength sessions. The other reason we can get away with that is being 2 weeks out from a fight. Any strength that she's got, she's in down at BKK all the time, doing the different disciplines, doing the different martial arts. So that any muscle that she needs, any muscle that is required for her fight, to keep her at the top of her game, she's using every single day. And the great thing is, if you're using it every single day and using it all the time, you're not going to lose it. So she's, she all the muscle that she needs, she's using all the time, so she doesn't lose it. So the great thing is, by dropping those strength sessions out, any muscle she does lose now is the muscle that she's holding that she doesn't use. So that'll just burn off as an energy source. So that's what we've done. We've dropped her 2 weight sessions. She's doing plenty of combat work still down at the guys at BKK. Working with Sean Carter, Jack Mason, Arnold Allen, and all the guys down there. And that's kind of primarily where all of her physical stuff's coming in now. Our goal pretty much is just to get her weight down, and what we've got her doing is, again, the LSD training. She's in the gym 5 times a week at the moment, on the bike, on the cross trainer, one machine one machine on the day session, and she's on there for an hour, just ticking over, burning calories, sweating, but not at high intensity. It's just long, slow duration, just to burn off that muscle, just to get that muscle off. And we've dropped some of her protein shakes as well, just with regards to feeding the muscles. And like I said, with the nutrition that she's doing as well, we're kind of really scientifically measuring it out, so that her body's getting what it needs to maintain the muscle that she needs, but also the body will start to call upon that muscle that she doesn't need to sort of burn off a little bit as well. So yeah, where we are at the moment, 2 weeks out, she's being biopsied again tomorrow. And we're hoping, we know her weight's dropped, we know her weight's coming down, so it's working, and we're hoping we've been able to maintain those hormonal balances to keep her at the top of her game. So as a review of where we are, like an overview, like the hormones are back in line. The one thing we will be watching out for is the estrogen levels within the body, so the female hormone. So for Kerry peak positions, we want to have a nice testosterone increase, which we would have got through our weight training. So we will be looking at tomorrow on the by-signature results on the Eastern front to make sure that hasn't crept up because the weights have been dropped. But as of last week, everything was in line. Great physical shape, low body fat. Looking good. Energy levels are good. Peak, she's following everything to the letter with regards to nutrition programs, hydration. She's training hard down at BKK and the guys down there. And I'm confident that come tomorrow, everything will be in a line. Everything will be where it should be. And moving forward into next week, I predict that we'll be sticking with the LSD training, and I predict that the nutrition will stay strict, and we'll continue with the drop in weight and the drop in muscle. So fingers crossed, we keep it going as we are. She'll come to the Friday before the fight, hitting weight, peak position, in peak physical condition, but also knowing that once she reloads a little bit as well on the Saturday, that she'll come out with all guns blazing on that Saturday night for the fight. So everything's going really well, everything's on track. And what I'll do again next week is I'll come back on, give you guys a little bit of insight into how we do what we do with the athletes that we do it with. So if anyone's in a similar position or is fighting, or if anyone has got any questions with regards to dropping weights, supplements, anything to do with your training at all, then guys, you're always welcome to drop me a message on Twitter. So it's Dave at Dave_B_Potentia. That's at Dave_B_Potentia. Or we've got the Potentia Performance site, which is at Potentia892. That's at Potentia892. Again, you're always more than welcome to drop us a message on there and get in contact, because like I said, we've got a team of experts down at the centre. Again, a few of them who Kerry is working with himself, Kate Mitchell. She's done work with Matt Swan as well, one of our massage guys. She's done work with Ross Nevitt, one of our injury specialists. We've got guys down there who can deal and answer questions on everything. So get in contact, give us a shout. And like I said, the next couple of weeks I'll keep you up to date with Kerry's progress, how she's getting on, and where we are in the lead up to her fight. So like I said, just hopefully that'll give people a little bit of an insight into what we do behind the scenes and how it affects the fighters when they walk out into the cage. So I'll speak to you all next week, and fingers crossed for Kerry tomorrow when she gets her by-signature results again.
Hi guys, welcome back to the UK MMA update with Your MMA.tv on the MMA Mental podcast. As usual, we're just going to be giving you a rundown of what's been going on over the past week in UK MMA with the UK fighters that are doing the thing abroad, and obviously what's coming up in the week to come as well. So first off, we're going to fly through these. Terry Etim made his Bellator debut at the weekend, and he defeated Patrick Chernobyl by a pretty dominant decision over in the US. Chernobyl was a tough guy. He stuck in there for the 3 rounds, but Etim got back to winning ways, and that's exactly what the team Carbon Fighter needed after a fairly tough run with some injuries and stuff and some losses. Danny Mitchell was also in action abroad. On less than a week's notice, he took on UFC veteran Besam Youssef in the co-main event in Superior Challenge at Sweden, and he actually submitted him in the second round with a rear naked choke. So that's a huge win for Danny. His record's looking good now. He's on a pretty good run of form, and he's making some noise. So if the UFC are having more European and UK shows next year, then for sure he's got to be one of the guys that has to be right up there. Over the weekend there were some big events. FFC in Scotland. The big name there was Mark Duncan, who actually won an all expenses paid trip to Chicago to go train with Team Curran, being the standout amateur fighter of the night. Made for the cage, had a big card there, lots of pro fights. James Mulheron defeating Martin Thompson in the main event. Mulheron, his nickname's the Juggernaut, and that's for a reason. He's sure he's got a great chin, he hits very hard, and he gets better every fight, so it's definitely one to keep an eye out for in the heavyweight division. Battlezone and Clan Wars both held events in Ireland at the weekend, Southern and Northern, with a lot of fighters on there vying for a space in the All-Irish Team Finals to go fight in Las Vegas next year. So the semi-finals were in Battlezone and Clan Wars respectively, and all the winners will be fighting in the final to get their chance to go international. And it doesn't come much bigger than that as an amateur. All the results from all these shows are up on yourmma.tv/news, so make sure you're keeping up to date with that, and find us on Your MMA on Facebook and at Your MMA on Twitter for all this news. In other news, Cage Warriors have just moved their Baghdad, Iraq show to Jordan, Amman, due to some logistical problems. But over the weekend, the news came out that the main event was going to be Bruno Carvalho taking on Matt Inman. That is a big fight, really exciting welterweight clash. And there's loads more great fights on that. Again, if you go to yourmma.tv/events, you'll find all the fight cards up there. This weekend, what we've got coming up, Omac's the big one over in Liverpool. Lee Chadwick defending his British title against Arunas Andriuskevicius. A guy who's been around for a long time, big power, very dangerous striker. And you've got the likes of Niko Djokovic, Steen Garnett, and Artem Lubov versus Christian Holly. So, there's going to be some great fights in Liverpool. If you're in the area, check it out. To get all the updates, all the UK MMA news, you can find us at Your MMA on Twitter, Your MMA on Facebook, and you can find me at Jay Furness MMA on Twitter.
Okay, I'm now joined by Ray Lopez. Ray is fighting at XFC 27 Frozen Fury in Muskegon, Michigan on the 13th of December. Ray, thank you very much for joining me on today's show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Okay, no, my pleasure, Ray. Now I know we're a few weeks out from your fight, and it's a big fight. Before we talk a little about that, which of course we are going to cover, I just want to get a little bit of your background. What currently is your MMA record?
I am 7-5 right now.
Okay. Now I've got you down here as you started fighting professionally in 2009. What got you into the sport?
I just like the contact, man. I like getting hit in the face, and I like punching people in the face.
Now, looking at your resume, you said there about being in 7-5. The thing that stood out to me of your 7 wins, not one of them has gone the decision. You've got 2 KOs, TKOs, and 5 submissions. So, would you say that you are, you like to finish fights? You are a finisher.
Yes. Yep.
Now, before you started fighting go on. Sorry, carry on.
I don't like leaving it to the judges, so I go out there and I take what I can get.
No, that's fair enough. Now, before you started fighting, of course, in 2009, how long were you training for?
I've been in martial arts all my life, so I've pretty much been training for 26 years. Well, I would say about 20 years. My dad was a martial arts instructor, so I've done like karate, taekwondo, the basics. And then I did a little boxing.
So obviously, from what you're saying, you did quite a lot of traditional martial arts. How did you find the transition then from the traditional martial arts to the mixed martial arts?
It was actually very hard because like with the taekwondo, you're kind of used to keeping your hands down, but then again, it wasn't too hard because I did a lot of I wasn't such a great kid growing up. I did a lot of street fighting and stuff, so I picked up a lot of the street fighting and just kind of learned how to have my hands up.
Yeah.
But like
so it was...
Taekwondo is really not like for punching, or it's more of a tournament sport than anything.
Now, of your fights so far, then, what have been some of your personal highlights? What have been some of your favourite fights?
I really don't have one.
With regards to your training, then, what camp do you train with, and who are some of the people that you train with, and who are some of the people that helped you prepare for this fight?
I train with Extreme MMA, and we got a couple. We got another professional fighter out there, Eric Lozano. But we're just kind of a local gym. We just kind of started, so there's no big names out of there yet. So I'm looking to put our gym on the map, and ain't no one better to put our gym on the map than to fight for them on the 13th.
Absolutely, it's a great event to be on. Now, before we talk about that fight, there's one thing that stands out to me on your resume, and I want to bring this up. You did headline in 2011 for Pro Elite, and you fought the former UFC heavyweight champion, Andrei Arlovski. What was it like fighting such a high-profile opponent?
That was oh man, that was very, very nerve-wracking. Andrei Arlovski is the one that got me into the fight. So even them offering me the chance to fight him was awesome. Like I said, I grew up watching this guy, that was one of my favorite fighters, and then to be able to actually fight him, that felt awesome. And then when I got in the cage with him, I got a little starstruck, and my nerves came in, and I just wasn't ready for it. So, yeah, that one really got me. It was cool to fight for him. To fight him.
It must have been very surreal then, like you say, if he's the one that kind of inspired you to get into the sport, and then you find yourself, face to face with him in the cage. It must have been very surreal.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, for you fight, obviously you're a heavyweight fighter. What kind of weight? What do you weigh when you fight?
I walk around. Well, for this fight, I was walking around at about 235. So yeah, I walk around about 230, 235, and I'm coming in at 200 for this fight. So yeah, this is gonna be.
Will you be at light heavyweight or heavyweight?
I've always fought at light heavyweight.
You've always fought at light heavyweight, okay.
Yeah, I've only fought one time at heavyweight, and that was with Andrei Arlovski.
Okay. Yeah, because I was looking at here. It says you're heavyweight, but then your weight was showing that you're more close to light heavyweight sense. I was looking at the Sherdog Fight Finder, so that makes more sense. Let's talk about this event then. XFC 27. How big of an opportunity and how big of a fight card is this for you to be on? For you to be on and to get this kind of showcase fight.
To fight for the XFC is a very good opportunity for me, especially here in Michigan, because I haven't got to fight in Michigan in a long time, MMA wise. I did a boxing show a couple months ago, but I'm not really a boxer. I like to kick in the head and elbow and punch. So for me being able to fight on this card is an awesome opportunity for me, because I have a lot of friends and fans and family that just haven't got to see me fight because it's been in Hawaii or California or Ohio, and it's just kind of a long way to travel. So I'm excited to fight on this card, and it's going to be a good time.
So yeah, will you have a lot of local support then for this fight?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Will you have a lot of local support for this fight?
Yes, sir. I will have a ton of support for this fight.
Now, the guy you're facing, interestingly, he's undefeated, but if you look at your record to his record, you've obviously got way more experience. What are your views on Shamir Garcia as an opponent?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, if we look at this fight with Shamir Garcia, it's interesting because he is an undefeated fighter, but then if you look at your record, you've got way more experience. You've had some big fights. So what are your views on him as an opponent?
I'm going to come out there with more experience because I do have more fights, and the people I have fought have way more experience than me. I've never fought anybody locally. Everybody I fought is a top contender, like Andrei Arlovski, Caleb Nelson, just a lot of Bellator fighters, and he is undefeated, and I know he's going to come out hard, and I know he trained hard for this fight because we actually fought once before in the amateur rankings, and I am the only loss that he has, so he's going to come back with revenge.
So this is actually a rematch then?
Yeah, we fought when we were amateurs, and I beat him, so I'm expecting him to come out trying to take my head off.
How did you beat him? Was it a decision, knockout, or submission?
It was a submission in the first round. I want to say maybe 2 minutes in the first round. I caught him with a triangle choke.
Excellent. So going into this fight then, as the guy with more experience, the fact you've got a win over him, does that kind of does that put you under more pressure, or does it just fire you up more to kind of show that you've improved even more from that fight?
Well, a little bit of both. It puts me under more pressure because, again, like I said, we have fought before, and I know he's going to come out. I know he trained hard for this fight. I know he's a tough fighter, and this was when we were amateurs, so we've both we both got a lot more experience since then. And then it gives me confidence because I've done it once before and I can do it again, you know?
Yeah. Now, if people are obviously, we're about 3 or 4 weeks out from the event, of course. Tickets are on sale. If people are running an hour in about going to this event, why should they come and see this event, and why should they come and watch Ray Lopez versus Shamir Garcia?
They should come out to this event because this is going to be a good event. It's with the XRC, so I mean that should speak for itself. There's a lot of big names on this card, and this is going to be a rematch, and it's going to be a good fight because again he's trying to take that loss off his chest, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. It's certainly got fireworks written all over it. Ray, I really appreciate you giving me your time and coming on to today's show.
Yes, thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Now, before we let you go, just want to give you a chance to do any shout-outs. Do you want to shout out any friends, family, sponsors, and also let the listeners and fans know about your Facebook and Twitter?
Yeah, I want to give a shout-out to my family for putting up with me during the weight cut and all the training that I'm putting in. My wife and kids especially, they put up with the most. And my friends and family for having my back through all this and more support. And my gym especially for putting in all the work that they had to put in at Extreme MMA and Remington Wrestling. And my sponsors, My Entertainment and Road Rash and Kimber's Photograph. And yeah, come look me up on Facebook, Ray Lopez.
Well, brilliant. Thank you very much for your time today, Ray, and I wish you all the luck with the fight.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, I'm now joined by Alex Trevino. Alex will be facing Dave Courchaine, XFC 27, Frozen Fury, also in Muskegon, Michigan on the 13th of December. Alex, thank you very much for joining us.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Now, you've got a big fight coming up in a couple of weeks, and of course I do want to talk about that with you. But before we talk about that, I just want to get a little bit of your background. Currently, what is your MMA record?
I'm 5-3 right now.
Okay, and you started fighting professionally in 2008. What got you into the sport?
Well, I was going to be a professional boxer, but I was having a hard time like catching a break in the amateurs because I was under the impression you had to win an amateur title to turn pro, and yeah, just kind of went home. I was under the weather with some a hard time of life, and the closest gym was 8 miles away, and it was an MMA gym, and I needed to spar, so I ran to it. I didn't have a car, really, transportation at the time, so I just ran to it and started there and went in there, and between wrestling and boxing, I did really well, so it just kind of all fell into place. And then got a lead on this reality TV pilot that Frank Shamrock was putting on, and went out there, and I won the little pilot thing. The series never got picked up, but I still won the pilot, one opportunity to start training. Grabbed a couple fights on Strikeforce, and then did parted ways with my management and started managing myself, and that's kind of how it all happened.
That's mad. That is. It's crazy the way you with the pilot and then getting into Strikeforce so early on your career. Now, how did you find the transition from boxing to mixed martial arts?
I wrestled for a long time and wasn't really a problem. Didn't really like. I'm pretty open-minded, so I didn't really take it as I'm not just trying to stand up because before I started boxing, I was wrestling for the first half of my life, so it was like the ground wasn't even scary, and I was a really good. I don't know about really, but I was a pretty good wrestler. You know what I mean? I won a lot. So wrestling, boxing was like having your two favorite loves in one sport. So what can you say to that?
Absolutely, you had the base, really, didn't you? I mean, probably the best base you can get. You had the wrestling and the boxing, probably the two kind of strongest bases. So it was a perfect fit for you, really, wasn't it? How did you find the jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, it's pretty easy. What's that?
How did you find picking up jiu-jitsu?
Jiu-jitsu, how they say a lot of actors they have a hard time with jiu-jitsu. I didn't have such a hard time because I just looked at it like, you can't pin me. I have no worries. It's not like I've never been on my back before. You know what I mean? So I just kind of started like that. Just took a real open-minded look at it, and pretty easy. Didn't really like. I wasn't one of those guys that think, oh, I panicked when I got on my back. You know, I got on my back and I could just lay there. You know,
So
you know.
How long have you been training jiu-jitsu for?
I started grappling a while back. I'm still a white belt. If you're talking about traditional jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
You know, still a white belt, but I mean, I did nogi for a few years, several years. You know, when I started, once I went over and met Frank, then that was it. You know what I mean? I started my mixed martial arts. You know, it wasn't so much to me. It's not so much like, oh, I'm training this, I'm training that. I mean, yeah, you do all those things, but when you're a martial artist, you know, it's just about the whole package. So you have no choice but to train all of them. So once I started mixed martial arts, I started submissions, I started, you know, all of that. Learning how to kick.
What was it like training with Frank Shamrock?
It was cool. It was cool. I mean, it was real cool. You know, it was crazy in the beginning. You know, I learned a lot, but I trained in Lodi, California with the at Nick Diaz Academy, the Gracie Fighter team, and it doesn't even compare. This is like, you know, the best.
I mean, you've trained with some great names then. So, have you trained with both Nick and Nate Diaz then?
Yeah, I trained a little with both of them. You know, and I've trained around them. Most times been just around them, you know, with the guys that train with the guys that train them, you know, train with them and stuff like that. So,
I mean, they're two of the most charismatic people, of course, in the sport. So what's it like being around characters like that and getting to train with people like that?
It's just, you know, it's cool, man. You know, I'm pretty charismatic myself. I grew up, you know, I'm really from a small town, and I'm out, you know, I fought my way all the way out to the big city and stuff like that. So I'm pretty charismatic myself. So we get along pretty well, you know. They're their own people. I'm my own person, and we met everybody, you know. And it's just like, it's cool getting along with people like that, you know, that are confident in themselves. There's something that, listen, and what people don't know is they're two of the nicest people in the world.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
you know, I just trained with the whole crew for a while. You know, and I've been in and out. You know, I don't want everybody thinking like, oh, I've been in and out. You know, I had a lot of trials and tribulations in my life, make no money. Right now, I have my own business, trucking business with my family, my own little portion of that. And you know, I'm trying to be like a modern day Stallone with over the top. I don't know if you remember that movie from a long time ago.
Yeah.
Arm wrestling and trucking. That's all I'm really trying to do. I'm staying in Lodi right now. I've been here for a month almost. I live and sleep out of my truck and trailer, and I'm just at the gym training. You know, and I'm just gonna try to do the best I can do, and that's all I can say.
Now, moving on to the fight, of course, you're facing Dave Courchaine. Now, the biggest thing that jumps out to me is he's got a lot more fights on your resume. So, what are your thoughts on facing an opponent with that little bit more experience than you?
Okay. You know, I mean, I'm just here, you know. I just wish the guy the best, and, you know, I'm just going to try and do the best I can do. I ain't really worried so much about him, you know. Like, what people don't know is, like, I'm 32 years old, man. I've been training since I was 10 years old. Numbers and records don't matter to me.
No, and
you
to
know,
be fair,
I understand this guy's like, you know, this guy's going to be trying to, you know, he's on his way to kick my ass, you know. That's what he's going to do, right? That's what he's here for. He's here to kick my ass. I mean, he's over there, he's dreaming about me. He's like, I'm going to beat him. I'm going to smack him in the ground. I'm like, blah, blah, whatever. You know, whatever he's thinking, that's cool, man. You know, I'm just going to try to do the best I can do. God can't really, you know, ask much more of me. Nobody else can ask much more of me. I do the best I can do, and if I do the best I can do, I should have a lot of fun and just be happy. I'm not, you know, I'm not in it like I used to be. Like, I used to be always in it trying to, you know, oh, I got to win this fight to eat here to make it to this level. And now I'm just like, yo, man, I got more than enough money in my personal life for my business and my work. I'm just happy to be, you know, able to, like you said, to be around some of these big name people who are like doing great things. You know, they get ready to fight Gary Maynard, and that's kind of like what, you know, what's the business, man. And they have a great academy. You know, great people. If you ain't training with the Gracie fighter, man, you ain't down.
I mean, to be fair, the Gracies are the ones that started the whole thing, aren't they?
Yeah, man. What is your tomorrow of it? The prediction? Excuse me.
What, for your fight?
Yeah. What's your prediction?
Well, I'm looking at the opponents you fought before. I mean, Dave's coming off a devastating loss, of course. I fancy you with a second round submission.
Cool. Thanks. And then are you just saying that because you're talking to me, or are you saying that because or you really believe that, or are you gonna tell Dave that I fancy you with like a second round knockout?
I've looked. I mean, you've put me on the spot, obviously, which is brilliant. I've looked at the records. The place you train in is very impressive. The people you train with. If you're training with the best people, you're going to get better yourself. That's common sense. He's got more experience than you, but you fought in some of the biggest promotions, especially with your history on Strikeforce. So that's my prediction for the fight. I've got you to win by round 2 submission. We'll find out in a few weeks whether I'm right or not.
Yeah. Oh man, it's counting down. I got the word on this like 3 months ago, and I can't believe it's counted down. It's my first fight in a long time. I thought I was never gonna fight again, and I wish the guy, all the happiness in the world. And I'm gonna go there, and he'll be there to kick my ass, and that's cool. I'll be waiting.
It's gonna be a great fight. It's been great having you on the show, Alex. I've really enjoyed chatting with you.
Yeah. Hey, it was a great time. Call me whenever. I'll be driving home here in a little bit because I'm headed back to Michigan to start preparing for my boxing and all that good stuff and getting everything situated. So.
Well, we're on Facebook now. We can certainly sort.
Yeah. Hit me up, man. Whatever. Chat, and then I like to big ups to TrevinoTrucking.com, my family, my dad, which kept me here in a position to train and get the good training, and then I Choke Haters Clothing. Check it out on Facebook and like it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for your time today, Alex, and I can't wait to see you fight in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, thank you. You have a wonderful day, man. God bless.
We are now joined by Paul the Titan Taylor. Paul will be fighting on the 30th of November, UCMMA 37 against Darren Towler for the heavyweight title at the Troxy. Paul, thank you very much for joining me today.
Yeah, no problem, right? Good to be on again.
Obviously, this is a huge card and a huge fight. We're getting very close now. I know there's been a lot of build up to the fight. How excited are you now that we're less than 2 weeks away?
It's like Christmas come early, mate. I just can't wait now to get in there and implement all my skills and I just feel great. I'm at a good weight and it's going to be amazing. Can't wait.
How's I know training? You always train hard. How has your training camp been for this fight?
I know a lot of fighters say, but this really has been the best training camp for any fight. The hunger of the belt, to be honest, has just drove me on even more than any other fight. Obviously, I've took every fight, seriously and trained as hard as I can, but this has just had a little bit of added motivation, because of the belt, to be honest. So, yeah, it's been good.
Now you had we were talking a little bit off air, and we'll bring it on air now. You've had a fantastic year last year, but this year's been a very tough year. With obviously, like you said to me, you've gone 1-on-1 this year. But I think more so than that is the fights that haven't happened this year. I think that's been the story of Paul Taylor this year, is the fights that haven't happened. So how excited are you just to get in there, show everyone what you can do, and kind of get yourself, climb up those rankings basically, and end the year on a high?
Yeah, as I said, like I just said to you off air, last year was a fantastic year. I had 3 great wins on the big show, and as I say, this year didn't start off so well for me. And then we had the Giants fight. Then we done the Reddit show, which obviously I finished that convincingly. And obviously this will put to bed all the controversy, all the crap that's happened at the start of the year, with the UCFC show and everything else. This will just be a good finish to a very frustrating year, really. It wasn't as good as last year, but it can't always go smoothly. I know this is the game we're in MMA. It's not always going to be knocking everybody out, and there is going to be ups and downs and injuries and reasons why you can't fight and things don't go to plan. And I accept that. And I'm over all that anyway. It's just I'm just looking for this title, and like you say, it'll be a great end to an average year for me, really. But, so yeah.
Yeah, it absolutely will be, and it's a huge opportunity. And I think the other thing as well, of course, with the UK rankings, this will probably lift you up into the top 10. It'll be nice, and then that will open up doors for you, won't it, of future opponents?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's what I'm hoping, really. That it's going to attract, the top 10 people. Because at the moment, it's like anybody. Nobody's going to fight a guy that's, a top 10 guy isn't going to fight somebody who's ranked 17th or 16th, and who's dangerous as well. I'm not ranked 17th or 18th. And well, obviously I am. What I'm saying is a lot of guys out there, they're ranked that highly and they're not that good or whatever. But people know that I can do it. I've got some good skills and stuff. So I'm a risky fight for a top 10 fighter, really, for anybody out there. I feel anyway. So but this hopefully will attract them. Do you know what I mean? People will think, well, okay, he's not ranked. It's a risky fight, but he's got the belt, so we'll try and get that belt off him. So that's what I'm hoping for. I mean, I've heard rumours that, well, not rumours, it's facts. Neil Groves got the interim title, so I suppose that'll be next on the card if I'm successful with getting the belt.
Yeah, I know what you're trying to say there, because you are obviously a high risk opponent with a low reward because of your ranking at the moment.
Yeah.
If they get the win, they don't climb up the rankings, and it's too much of a risk with, like I said, not enough reward. Where if you've got the belt, it's going to open up doors and get you bigger fights, isn't it? Which is what you need going forward. I mean, like you say, you had a fantastic year this year, fantastic year last year, mixed year this year. But it doesn't say you can't end this year on a high, and then 2014, it's all yours, isn't it?
That's what I'm hoping, to be honest. If I can get that belt, it will be a great end to, like I say, a bit of controversial year for me. Plus, as well, we're a week away from our baby coming, a little boy. So it would be a great year, baby, new belts, and I can look to the future then, and hopefully get some better offers and some top opponents, which I welcome. I'm not gonna. This is why I want that belt, and this is why I want to, fight on that show, so that I do get the bigger names. Because I don't want to miss about. I don't want to be just fighting for the sake of it. I do want to be in that number one slot. You know what I mean, in the country. So, and hopefully get on the real big shows and abroad and stuff.
Absolutely, that's what you've got to do. You've got to make a name for yourself on the UK scene. We've seen it happen so many times, and we've seen people from UCMMA. They've gone from UCMMA to UFC because they've made such a name for themselves in that promotion. So it's definitely there if you can do it, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean, you've got Ollie Thompson who went over straight from UCMMA. Jimmy Manu's doing awesome. You've got loads of other names that have gone directly from there. I mean, if you really want to go back in time, you've got the Anderson Silva.
Yeah.
He made his name on cage rage, which is Dave's promotion. Some people still call UCMMA cage rage, So it's definitely tied in because Dave's a promoter. He's just a changed name. It's still the same promotion. It's still the same desire that Dave's got to promote the MMA, and it's a good show. Definitely is a good show.
Well, obviously, less than 2 weeks out. We've been on. We've spoken a lot. We've been on the show a lot. So, from MMA Mental, we wish you all the luck for this fight in 2 weeks.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Thank you. Sorry about some more boys. I've just come back from conditioning, so my head's a little bit cloudy at the minute. Exhausted. So.
And Paul, is there anyone you'd like to thank for this fight?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank Powerbet Gym for all they've done. Paul and Ian there, they put me up at the gym, and I appreciate that, their continued support. My coach Darren Morris, all the lads at ISW who are fantastic, who have helped me, and just everybody who supports me, really. Just thank you very much. Without the level of support I've got, it'll be very hard. So I appreciate all the support on Facebook and messages. So thank you. And lastly, just on the sponsors, without them I wouldn't be able to do this. They've enabled me to where I can not work, I don't have to work. They keep me going. Especially, I just wanted to mention one company, Print Right, that I mentioned them because they really do help me.
they're the ones that pay my train fares and everything else. So I just want to say a massive thank you to them, and also a guy called Bradley Kay, who also goes out his way to help me loads. PDJ, there's just loads. There's Harry Burrows. Again, I'm probably going to get told off now for not remembering them all, but I just want to say a massive thank you to all of you. Appreciate it.
Well, Paul, it's been great having you back on the show, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the Troxy in just under 2 weeks.
Fantastic. Cheers, mate. Thanks very much for the interview again.
I am now joined by Davey Grant. Davey Grant is here to break down the latest episode of The Ultimate Fighter Season 18. Of course, this is the episode where Davey made it to the final. Davey, thanks for joining us, and congratulations for making it to the final.
No problem. Thank you, Ray.
There was a lot of focus, obviously, this week. I mean, last week there was a lot of focus on Team Tate, but this week is all on Team Rousey, because it was two of her two team members who were fighting to reach the final. Now, the episode started with a big barbecue. How hard was it to see everyone enjoying the food, including your opponent, and you not eating any?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty hard. It was, but I knew what I had to do, so I didn't let it bother us too much. Do you know what I mean? It was nice for them all to come over for the barbecue. It was actually to celebrate Jessamine and Duke's birthday in the house as well. So it was a good atmosphere and stuff, and it was a bit hard not to eat any of the food, but I had the fight on my mind, so it wasn't bothering us too much.
Yeah, because you've been in that situation before, haven't you? There'd been a few times where I remember there being a pool party as well, and it was around the time you were cutting, so you weren't, you kind of excluded yourself from that as well.
Yeah. I mean, I was there for one reason only, and it wasn't to have fun and party. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, this is life changing, isn't it? At the end of the day.
Yeah, too right.
Right. As Rousey didn't want to favour, as Ronda didn't want to favour any fighters, you picked your own corner. Now it's obvious why you picked Mike, but why did you pick Chris and Jessica?
I got on really well with them in the house. So I felt they were experienced, and I felt they genuinely wanted me to win as well.
So what was the going on to the coaches challenge now? What was the atmosphere like watching the coaches challenge?
It was exciting, as soon as we walked in and I saw that it was rock climbing, I just sort of knew that Ronda was going to win. Do you know what I mean? She's really competitive, and I just thought there's not a chance she's going to let me beat her on this. So as soon as we walked in, I was really confident and really excited to watch.
Now the race was really, really close, but how pleasing was it for you that Ronda did win?
Oh yeah, it was very pleasing. It was it just put everyone in a good mood straight away, and we all won some money from it, and I think we all getting a PlayStation 4 from it as well because they sponsored it.
Oh, that's all right, isn't it? Don't turn your nose up at that. Now, obviously, after that, then there was a lot of focus, of course, on Anthony's attempt to cut weight. Now, when he missed originally by £4, what were you thinking?
I was thinking, oh my God, what's he doing? He's not going to make it. He's not going to make it. And I couldn't believe it.
In the build up to the fight, were you surprised at how much crap he was eating?
Yeah, but he did that for his Mma Record and still made it as well. So no one ever thought he was not going to make weight. Everyone thought that's just what he does, and he makes weight. You know what I mean? It was a real big shock to everyone because Anthony wasn't the most strict dieters in the house. He was eating bad things all the time, but he made weight when he was fighting Cody. I think he just got a little bit too confident that he was going to do it again.
Yeah, he didn't come across well at all during that weight cut because he kept on going on about how I can eat what I want and make the weight. And if you're going to say that, that's fine if you do it. But when you don't do it, you leave yourself looking very, very silly.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, when Anthony was leaving, you looked really, really annoyed with him. Now, it's the first time, really, you've shown any bad feeling towards anyone on the show. How frustrating was it for you that you couldn't fight?
Yeah, I mean, I was devastated. I didn't want to be the guy who got to the finale by forfeit. Do you know what I mean? It's always been a dream. I've dreamt about that moment thousands of times. And then to go and get there by forfeit was just devastating, and it was his fault. Do you know what I mean? I was really looking forward to that fight. I put a lot of effort in, and obviously I've fought twice in the same place. So within 5 weeks. Do you know what I mean? This is going to be my third fight in the same place in 5 weeks. So like you felt so comfortable. You'd been in that gym every day. Do you know what I mean? It was going to be a fight where I could really showcase my skills, and then and I felt as if he took it away from us. So I was really disappointed with him, and yeah, it bugged us.
Do you think that he didn't want to fight you? Because he just again, he didn't take the weight cut seriously. Then he seemed to give up very easy, a bit like what happened with Cody. Do you think he just didn't want to fight you?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't have thought that he would rather have left the competition like that than fight me. Do you know what I mean? It would just be stupid. Do you know what I mean? I think anyone in the right mind would rather fight and get beat rather than to get kicked out of the competition like that. I think there was just a few factors, and it might have possibly had something to do with it, but I don't think it was the main reason.
Have you spoke to him since the show finished?
No, I haven't spoken to him, no.
And do you still... I mean, with hindsight, do you feel it was a blessing that it went that way, or would you still rather have had the fight and you still a little bit bitter towards him?
I mean, I'm not exactly bitter towards it. I've come to terms with it now. And at the end of the day, I was one step closer to that finale to go and get the six-figure contract for my kids. Do you know what I mean? So, like, to be honest, it makes no difference to me now. As long as now that I know I'm fighting in the finale, then yeah, that's what it's all about, really. At the end of the day, so I'm not gonna hold a grudge against him, and I'm not gonna let it bother us. It is what it is.
Do you know if any of the guys on the show, not necessarily the girls, but just the guys, have any of them got a fight on the finale? Do you know?
Sorry, I'm not allowed to disclose that information at the minute.
Okay. Right, I didn't realise that, sorry. And okay, next week then we'll be back to break down the final episode of the season. Actually, we're going to skip next week, of course, because it's going to be the weigh-in day, of course. You're going to be getting ready for the finale. So we'll skip next week, and then once you're back in the UK, we'll have another catch-up then, and we can break down, obviously, over the final episode and obviously talk about the final as well. So, Davey, thanks obviously once again for coming back on the show.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Ray.
And before we let you go, as always, want to give you a chance to do any shout-outs, friends, family, sponsors, and let people know about your Facebook and Twitter?
Yeah, if I could just give a big shout-out to all my friends and family who supported us, and to me sponsor, Jeff Dobson, Marquee Hire, and Grant's Gin, Bad Boy Clothing, and the Biltong Man, and my Twitter is Davey Grant MMA. And then my friend Lazy the Savage, he's got us on Instagram as well now, so that's Davey Grant MMA as well. So if I can thank everyone, that'd be great. Cheers. And I
know, I think I speak on behalf of the whole of the UK, but we're all behind you for next Saturday. We wish you all the luck in the final.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
I hope you enjoyed listening to those interviews. As always, we'll be back next week with more guests. Working on a few really good guests for next week, so hopefully you'll tune in and listen to next week's show as well. Thank you very much for joining us.